Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture just to see how those incidents affect our daily lives. Listen, y'all, listen. I got to get everything right because I think I might be talking for a little while because we are about to review some things. Also, you see it scrolling down at the bottom. Please help me reach 1,000 subscribers. Please support the channel, hit the like button, and subscribe. Once you subscribe, you will be open to a plethora of different movies, television series, and pop culture chats that I have completed. Listen, listen. Uh, First of all, shout out to Meghann Cuniff. I'm going to be talking about what she's reporting right now, and this has to do with Tory Lanez. Now, if you've been hiding under a rock and you are not familiar what's going on, uh, Tory Lanez was convicted of shooting Meg the Stallion. This happened on the 23rd or the 24th of December. And so since then, he has fired his old attorneys. He's hired a new attorney because they are working on trying to get him a new trial. I think that petered, and I think now they are working to get the case appealed. So they are uh, part of their working on getting him appealed. I think part of the strategy is I don't even know what the strategy is. However they're working this appellate strategy, I am not sure. I'll have to go back through Megan's notes. But anyway, what was revealed today? You remember this strategy? Kelsey did it. Kelsey was the one that was supposedly the one shot Meghann, and how Tory was going along with this, and but anyway, how he was going along with this, and how the new attorneys that he had was going along with it. So here is some background information. So let me share my screen because we are going to review it together. And let me remove my banners real quick. Listen. It says here, this is coming off Legal Affairs and Trials with Meghann Cuniff. This is her website where she posts all the information that she gets from reviewing trials. You can join her website if you so choose. Just go to her Twitter, and you'll be led to her website to be able to do that. But listen, it says here, Tory Lanez's first lawyer told him blaming Kelsey Harris for shooting Megan Thee Stallion was not a viable strategy. So let's go back. Let's go down here and let's look at this and see what's going on. So as you see here, this is a confidential attorney-client communication memo from Sean Hawley. Now, if you are not familiar with Sean Hawley was on the O.J. Simpson trial with Johnny Cochran. She is the woman here in the middle. She was his initial attorney. And then we saw that she was no longer representing him. I think she was still attorney stated, but she was no longer going to represent him in trial. She stopped representing him in trial. And the reason why she stopped representing him in trial is she sent Tory an email. Now, Tory had these emails as far as the confidentiality portion of it. Once he relinquished attorney-client privilege with this attorney and he gave it to his new attorneys, the new attorneys, I guess, is putting this information together for the appellate court. But listen to what it says. Now, this was dated November 21st, 2022. So she was his attorney. Now that's 2022. So she was his attorney up until the month before they went to trial. But listen to this. As Tory, as we discussed on Saturday, I am not comfortable advancing the Kelsey defense, primarily because I do not find it to be a viable strategy. I don't believe my position will change unless Quan is persuasive in the preview of his testimony, and you are persuasive under mock cross-examination by George and or Lisa. Even if both of those benchmarks, which is your testimony and Quan's testimony, will be satisfied, I'm still not certain that I'll be willing to go forward. In light of that, you should discuss with George his willingness and ability to move forward with the defense if he can do so by the trial date of December 6th. I will help him get up to speed if that's something that you're interested in. All best, Sean. Now, why is that important? Because you remember during the trial, a lot of people saying, well, where is the driver? Where is the driver? How come the driver isn't saying anything? Or is it the driver or the bodyguard? Whatever it was. Where is he? Why isn't he not thinking? It is because she knew that that defense was going to be a lie. And she knew that she was not going to be able to control Quan. Tory was going to be willing to tell a tale. But it seems like she knew that that was not going to be a viable offense because nobody was going to believe it. So she recused herself, but that's not the real reason why she recused herself. She just decided that she wasn't going to be able to work that defense, right? So let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. Tory Lanez's original lawyer rejected his idea to try to persuade jurors that Meghann the Stallion, now former friend, fired the gun the night Meghann was shot in the Hollywood Hills nearly 3 years ago. An email obtained by Legal Affairs Trials of Meghann Cuniff shows Sean Hawley instructing Lanez to see if another lawyer be willing to move forward. Right? So we got all of that. And like I said, she didn't believe her position would sway. It says Holly said that she didn't believe her position would change unless Lane's driver, Jaquan Smith, is persuasive in the preview of his testimony. So in other words, unless he could convince people that Kelsie was the one that did the shooting and not Tory, she still wasn't comfortable. And you know that driver wasn't going to lie. I don't think that driver was going to sit here. He was employed by Tory, but he wasn't loyal like that. I mean, because he's a driver, he wants to be able to get him some more work. And if they can find that he lied on the stand, shoot, they may mess around and little Kim him. And if you know, you know from that. All right. And you remember George was his attorney, and that's the one that he fired and all this other stuff. And they found him guilty. All right, here we get to the next email. Wait a minute, go back up, Pam. All right. All right. All right. So you read that. You read that. So here's the second email. As we discussed on Saturday, I am not. Now, this email was to Tory Lanez, and she CC'd his attorney too. As we discussed on Saturday, I'm not comfortable advancing the Kelsey defense, primarily because I do not find it to be a viable strategy. She didn't believe it. This is Sean Kelly, didn't believe it. I do not believe my position will change unless Quan is persuasive in the preview of his testimony. Okay. Okay, so this is basically the same one. This is not the email that I was looking at. There was another information. So Holly's information about the Kelsey defense. Where am I? Because all of these records were unsealed by the judge when the team that he has now, his lawyer team, was trying to get the judge taken off the case. All right, so let's keep going. I'm going to read this part because I think this is more interesting to read it. Holly's email about the Kelsey defense was among the documents Hardifer ordered unsealed after Lanez waived his attorney-client privilege over them at the advice of his new lawyers, Matthew Borhama and Jose Baez. Now, if you're familiar with Jose Baez, that name, he was the attorney for Casey Anthony down in Florida, and he got Casey Anthony off of that murder charge of her daughter. The 30-year-old rapper did so on May 8th while seated at the defense table in the midst of Hereford's hearing on his motion for a new trial after Borhama and Baez said they wanted to publicly discuss their claim that Holly provided ineffective assistance of counsel. And I guess them saying that those emails are supposed to be proof of her ineffective assistance of counsel. Hired after Lanez was convicted, Borhama and Baez argued in their sealed supplement that Holly was personally conflicted in her defense of Lanez because prosecutors were accusing her of helping him try to bribe Harris as a witness. They argued her conflict spread to Meghann because Holly helped him prepare and consulted with him during the trial. At the same time, they argued prosecutors violated Lanez's rights to counsel by accusing Holly of bribery and leaking discovery, which they said essentially forced her from the trial. Prosecutors say Holly was never formally accused of bribery or leaking discovery. That's what I wanted to read. Y'all, there was a whole lot of going on behind the scenes. Now, you remember there was this air of we couldn't understand why Kelsie was acting the way that she was acting and how she was acting with prosecutors because we're like, she's got a deal. Why is she acting like this and all this other stuff? Because it said right here that they were accusing Tory's attorney of her accepting a bribe. She said she didn't accept any bribe, but that was the air that was going on in the courtroom. So you remember how everybody was reporting how she was acting kind of funny in the courtroom? This is probably why, because she felt like they were trying to accuse her of taking some money or doing some things like that. So now I'm understanding just briefly why Kelsie was acting funny. They were reporting that she was acting funny. Her testimony started wavering. You know how the prosecution was trying to say, well, she's got a deal. What is she doing? That is why, because right here, I'm going to read it again. I'm going to read it again. Hired after Lanez, Borhama and Baez argued that in their sealed supplement that Holly was personally conflicted in her defense of Lanez because prosecutors were accusing her of helping him try to bribe Harris as a witness. Let's move on. All right. The unsealed documents included an email Holly wrote to Lanez on December 18th, 3 days before closing arguments, formally quitting as his counsel and citing Harris's statement that Holly was somehow involved in facilitating an arrangement between you and she, whereby you would finance her business or something like that in order to curry favor with her, thereby aligning your and her interests as far as the case was concerned. So she quit on him right before closing arguments because, like I said, she was still the attorney of record, but she didn't show up in the courtroom. And this is why she wasn't there. Let's move on. They're quoting her from her email. You and I both know that this never happened. In any event, the fact that these false allegations have been made about me and that they are now evidence in the case makes it a conflict as an ethical or legal matter for me to continue to represent you. And as a result, I am obligated to withdraw as your attorney. Baby. That lady said, I'm fixing to go because you're not going to get me caught up in no mess. You're not going to get me caught up in no mess. But here's what I wonder. Let me just keep reading and then I'll go on with what I'm wondering. It says Holly told Lanez she filed her withdrawal. I don't know why I'm speaking like that. Under seal, so it will not be part of the official court file or record. And according Accordingly, the media will not have no reason to suspect that my role has any way changed from working behind the scenes because of a scheduling conflict. So this is the email. So we will just go ahead and read this email, child. Let's see what this email got to say. It as she says, Tory, I'm writing to let you know that tomorrow morning I'm going to file a motion to withdraw as one of your attorneys of record. I will file it under seal, so it won't be part of the official court record, and accordingly, the media will have no reason to suspect that my role has changed in any way from working behind the scenes because of a scheduling conflict. As you know, evidence was elicited last week, both when Kelsie was on the stand and later when her September interview was played, that I was somehow involved in facilitating an arrangement between you and she, whereby you would finance her business or something like that in order to curry favor with her, thereby aligning your and her interests as far as the case was concerned. You and I both know that never happened. Okay. I am not accusing you of actually saying that to her. She may have made this up herself. I do not know. See, she covered herself right there because she don't know exactly. She can't say for certainty that Tory didn't do it, but she's covering her doggone self. All I do know is that this did not happen, nor would it ever happen. To emphasize the point, you may recall that once the criminal case was filed against you, I stopped engaging in all discussions with her civil lawyer about the prospect of your paying her medical bills for the injuries she claimed to have suffered the night of the incident. For me to continue those discussions once you were charged criminally and she became a potential witness of the case would have been unethical. So I immediately stopped all discussions with him on that topic. See, that's some inside tea. See, we didn't know that Kelsie was suing, was working behind the scenes to get Tory to pay for her medical bills, and his attorney was facilitating that. Now, is that something that the prosecution was trying to say, that they were trying to curry favor as far as paying her uh for the testimony? I wonder if that was something that they were doing. So let's read on. Let's read on. In any event, the fact that these false allegations have been made about me and now they are evidence in the case makes it a conflict for me to continue to represent you, and as a result, I'm obligated to withdraw as your attorney. Here's what I want you to all to pay attention to. I don't know if I can highlight it or not. No, I can't. You should be aware that Alex Spiro, Megan's lawyer and or counsel for Rock Nation, has launched an investigation into Kelsie having been compromised. And in quotations, it said bribed or threatened. Mr. Spiro is requesting that I and George and Kelsey's lawyer maintain and preserve all communications what might be relevant to this matter. We will not give in to his demands and we find them improper, but that's a subject for another day. The point is, the question of her having been bribed is apparently not going away, and her interview claiming that I was part of this alleged bribery scheme is part of their investigation. Anyway, it is probably best that I withdraw from representing you in this Alcina matter. So there's something going on legally about this Alcina matter. You remember after what was it, a couple of months before the trial, uh Tory Lanez was shown on camera, him and his crew beating up August Alcina. As you know, we have a date scheduled for mediation in February in that case. So there was a mediation case going on. So it's a whole lot of stuff. Tory Lanez is in a whole lot of stuff, and all of this stuff is coming to pass. All right. I will contact the mediator's office and see if we can cancel the mediation. If not, I will speak with Paul about getting you excellent civil counsel to take over your representation in that matter. Because that matter hasn't gone away, because he still has to work out that. If you have any questions about any of this, please don't hesitate to call. Otherwise, I wish you well in the case and all of the things. All best, Sean. Baby, you mean to tell me that all behind the scenes there's a whole lot of stuff going on. So in essence, what I'm reading here is that after the incident happened, there was communication between Kelsie, her attorney, and Sean Holly on a civil matter about them paying for her injuries. And somehow, some way, the prosecution got wind of it. And then also Megan's attorney and Rock Nation had got wind of it. So they started investigating it, or they made complaints about it, saying that Sean Holly was talking to Kelsie and Kelsie's civil attorney about quote. I'm putting it. Let me see if you can see me. Let me move out the way here. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. So, in other words, like I said, let me just repeat what I'm saying so I can get back on track. So, what it sounds like to me is that during this whole process, Kelsie was talking to Tory Lanez. And so, in other words, she was using her attorney to talk with Tory Lanez's attorney about paying for some medical bills. And they were in discussion, as far as Sean Holly knew, about paying for some medical bills. And they were in negotiations for that. Somehow, some way, those negotiations got leaked or whatever what was going on. And the prosecution found out. The prosecution finds out. Then Megan's attorney, Alex Spiro, starts investigating because y'all, I think we're gonna have to go back to Kelsey's remember when she got online? Anyway, let's keep going, Pam. Keep going, Pam, because you're getting yourself confused. So somehow, some way, Megan's the attorney started to keep wind of it, and they started saying, "Oh, this seems like you all are working a side deal with Kelsie in order to keep her from testifying." So that's where all of this was coming from. This is where all it was coming from. Because you remember it was supposed to be somebody was supposed to give somebody $1 million and all this other stuff. So all of this was going on behind the scenes. It was indirectly had anything to do with the trial. But so basically, what Rock Nation and maybe that's why the father was hollering about Rock Nation will crumble. Maybe that's what all that was about. Because see, again, we are not privy to the stuff behind the scenes. There's so much stuff going on behind the scenes that we're not privy to. And that's why you have to be careful about making all of these excursions and speculations about stuff, because you hardly know what's going on behind the scenes. You got to wait to the court, and you have to wait till they present this evidence in court. But let's continue. So once it got wind that Kelsey's attorney and Tory Lanez's attorney was talking, somewhere it got conflated that there was he was going to pay for her testimony. And it sounds like what they wanted them to do was to pay for her medical bills. Now, that's the way I'm reading it. If you all interpret it a different way, y'all let me know. Let me know. So all of this is going on behind the scenes. Also, what's interesting here is going on behind the scenes because you're in mediation and negotiations with August Alsina and his crew for that beatdown that happened. When was it? August, September of last year, somewhere in there that happened, or October. I can't remember just solid dates of things. So forgive me if I'm asking for forgiveness for that. So you're in negotiations, and that was supposed to take place in February this year. But that got canceled once she decided to withdraw as your attorney. My goodness, my goodness, my goodness. Once again, shout out to Meghann Cuniff and her newsletter for providing us all this sweet information. Whew, let's see. She's talking about the emails. Now, these are the two attorneys, the Bohana and Baez. I think it is Bahoma and Jose Baez. Those are the two attorneys. And they talked about something. I'm not going to go through. This is them talking about how they released yeah. And then they go on. This article just continues to go on about Miss Holly. But baby, What y'all think about all this? I just kind of did the highlights and read the stuff I needed to read. Tell me what y'all think in the comments. What are y'all thinking about this whole situation? Again, I'm going to try my best to leave a link so that you all can go and find this information for yourselves. But baby, a mess, a straight mess, a straight mess, a straight mess. All of this is going on behind the scenes. All right, all right, all right, all right. We do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you think about what's happening as we get more information from this Tory Lanez case. Please leave your please leave that down below. All right, we do this every week. Things weren't clicking like it was supposed to. We do this every week, y'all. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Please share if this video, if you care. Share it with your mama, your daddy, your family, your co-workers. Hell, share it with the helper you can't stand to let them know that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye.